I disagree with the petition that we should scrap the licence fee and defund the BBC, but I do agree with it on one point, and that was the decision to scrap the free licence fees for the over 75s. That promise was made to people, those licences will be there. The BBC has made the decision because it cannot afford to fund it. I think it miscalculated the amount of money that it would cost and was probably wrong to enter the agreement that it did. But nevertheless, that commitment had been made and should have been honoured. And I totally sympathise with people that have signed the petition on that basis. If we're going to call for the defunding of the BBC or the scrapping of the licence fee, then what we have to accept is the BBC will either cease to exist as we've known it or will be much, much smaller. It will have far less money. I'm not aware of any time when the BBC has sought to make cuts at scale, when members of the House of Commons have supported those cuts. On the whole, people tend to campaign for the retention of services, particularly services that are important to local communities. One of the first places where cuts to services are felt are often at local level, local news service, local radio stations, the deliveries of services which have a small but important audience. And those are all incredibly important parts of what the BBC offers. If the BBC has less revenue, it will have to decide what to do less of. The Director General has already challenged the BBC to consider what it would make if it had 80% less money than it has today. There's 80% less output. And that will lead to many services being changed dramatically across the way the BBC works. But it is in a position even today where its current model is probably not sustainable, where the revenue it gets in from the licence fee set against the rising cost of making programmes, partly as a consequence of the inflationary pressure caused by new services like Netflix and Amazon. I mean, the BBC will have to look very seriously at what it makes and what it can continue to afford to make. If the BBC accepted advertising, then advertising will be taken from ITV and Channel 4 to fill those gaps. Advertisers aren't suddenly going to increase their budgets by a third or more just to take up extra slots on the BBC. It would have a very big impact on ITV and Sky and on Channel 4 if that advertising money was shared around. If it becomes a subscription service, it will largely, as Netflix and Amazon do, make programmes for its subscribers, not programmes for the whole nation. The BBC is not perfect, it makes mistakes. And that's why it was right that we decided that it should be regulated externally by Ofcom and not just left to mark its own homework. We can challenge it to seek to improve the breadth of services it offers and to make sure the diverse voices from across the whole United Kingdom are heard on its airwaves. We can only do that because it is publicly funded and independently regulated through Ofcom. We could not have those conversations with any other broadcaster. The BBC around the world and the World Service are a huge asset to this country. As we seek to expand Britain's global reach and influence, then we shouldn't undermine one of our great global brands, which is the BBC.